Hello, hello, and welcome to the last weekend of NaNoWriMo 2017. We are the WordNerds, and we will be hosting what will hopefully be a fantastic virtual write-in for you guys today. We are going to be doing an hour of sprinting and writing and answering all of your NaNoWriMo-y questions. So to kick things off, I guess we'll just do a quick update, let you guys know how we've been doing on Nano. Emma, how about you?
I'm right at like 35,600, right around there. So I'm kind of behind, but still doable. So
with a write-in today and then another one over on our channel tomorrow, you'll have plenty of opportunities to get caught up. Megan, how about you?
I am at about 40,500, so I am right where I need to be. Hopefully I can keep that up.
You've got this. And Erin?
I've been really bad at tracking my hours. According to my goal tracker, I'm like a little over halfway, but I'm pretty sure I've been putting in a lot more hours than that. And it's going really good now. Originally, it was kind of like a crazy shuffle because I'm editing for Nano, so trying to get my scenes where they're supposed to be and having things, lay out in a way that actually makes sense. But yeah, I'm starting to get into the swing of it, and I think it's starting to make sense. Fingers crossed. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys are all doing better than I am. I've had a really good writing month, but like almost none of it's on my Nano project. So that will be a book I write in January instead.
But you still have words, so that's good.
I still have words. I'm still in the Nano spirit, more or less. So I guess we'll kick things off with a 5-minute warm-up at the 5-minute mark at 05.
Sounds good.
Do we have are we doing a prompt for the warm-up or?
We can do one, yes. So I found some prompts. So this one is, the word is eavesdropper. So somebody is either being sneaky and listening in on your character, or maybe your character is listening in on someone else. Either way, someone's overhearing something they shouldn't.
Excellent.
I love those scenes, but they're also really hard to write.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to figure out like just how much they hear and like how they interpret it, and yeah.
And so it's like misinterpreted in order to lead to disaster.
Yeah.
Right.
And like
and
what parts they have to miss, and yeah.
Yeah. And so it's not obviously the writer being like, here is some information for you.
Here's some information for you, but we're also going to this character for some reason left out this detail so that you're missing it. I saw like a Hallmark Christmas movie over the weekend because my mother-in-law was watching them. And like the character like overheard a conversation, and like these two people were talking about her, and then they started talking about someone else that they didn't like, but they never said the other person's name. Like they were looking at like a guest list for a party, and like the person like circled the name, and they started talking about that person, so she thought they were still talking about her. And I was like, this feels very contrived.
Hallmark. Just having a quick
Morgana from Merlin in it though.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Worth it.
Scrolling through the comments, it looks like you guys are doing great. Some of you have already won Nano, which is amazing. Some of you look like you could probably win today, which is pretty cool.
Very awesome. Let us know if you hit 50K today so we can celebrate with you.
Yes.
All right, we've got about 13 seconds.
Excellent. Just stare at each other awkwardly.
I love how you're like in the background swatting bugs, Megan. Like, mosquitoes.
All right, guys, it is go time. We are going to sprint for 5 minutes and then check back in. Good luck. Alrighty, how'd everybody do?
We have 75 words.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I got 180.
I mostly was looking at prompts, so.
Also important.
I went to close down the stuff on my other screen to like open up my document and stuff, and there was a video of a 911 call about 3 elephants loose in Canada, and there was like video footage of elephants like walking down the street and eating people's trees. So I watched that. Like,
how do you not watch that?
On the phone to 911 very politely just being like, yeah, there's elephants on my streets.
Where in Canada was this?
I don't know.
Like, why was I not there, really?
Yeah.
That's my question.
I'm now Googling elephants loose in Canada. So. Oh, near me, not near you.
Oh, you guys get all the fun.
So a solid warm-up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty great.
Well, lots of good word counts in the comments. Now everyone's looking up the elephant video. Way to go, Kelly.
Derailed everyone now.
Come sprint with us and be super distracted.
The top Google search doesn't seem to have the 911 call in the video footage, but it's worth finding after you do your writing. It's an excellent reward when this is all said and done.
There you go. Reward yourself with elephants, not before.
Pre-boards don't work.
Well, I don't know. When it comes to candy, like...
I tell myself that it works, but it doesn't.
I just don't feel like there's enough scientific evidence that candy pre-words don't work, so maybe I need to try it.
You need to you're the focus group to test that on. Yes.
I meant to bring them. My brother lives out in the western United States, and he brought me back these cinnamon bears. And I love them so much. I can't believe I forgot them.
I was trying to explain chocolate-covered cinnamon bears to someone the other day, and they were like, that sounds like the weirdest thing. And I was like, they're actually good. Although I prefer the not-chocolate ones, they are good.
Same.
Are they like gummy bears that are cinnamon flavored?
Yeah, they're like they're like big gummy bears. They're like this big.
Yeah, like really thick.
Yeah, they're thicker. Yeah, they're
so good.
I don't know about this.
If you don't like cinnamon, you wouldn't like them, but I'm assuming.
I do like cinnamon, but like the idea of gummy
like
cinnamon, like
so
chewy, gummy cinnamon, I don't know.
So good.
Is this like an American thing only? Kelly, have you eaten cinnamon bears before?
No.
It's
Okay.
like a
Also,
part of America thing only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd never had them before
Also-
college when I went out west. Like we don't have them out here.
Okay. It's like when the Canadians talk about what is it, like Smarties or something, and people are like, "Oh yeah, like we think of rockets."
They're rockets for us and Smarties.
Yeah, super weird. Like those are not Smarties.
Yes. I've learned this week though that cinnamon bears are an ideal writing snack because they're like big enough to satisfy you. They take a long time. You can't just like stuff them all in your face at once because it'd be too powerful, and they're clean so you don't get anything like on your keyboard. Great.
All right, I'll have to keep that in mind.
Gummy bears would also probably work, like if you could find some big gummy bears.
I feel like Starbursts too, but like also those are kind of sticky.
All the unwrapping.
Yeah.
Not efficient.
Yeah. Not as efficient. Yeah.
Should we start our next sprint at the 15 or the 20? Do we have questions we need to answer?
Mostly there's just a lot of discussions about Canada. I don't think I've seen any questions, and I know Aaron's watching it too, but...
Stuff
right,
about
it's the 15
candy.
now, so let's do it at the 20.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're having fun. It's our last sprint. We want to enjoy it.
Yes.
The only question I can see is Canadian elephants, eh?
Yes. Not a question.
Hey.
I hear that in
guys.
Canada they have zoos just like in other countries.
Someone said they loved my shelves, but I missed it. So thank you.
Oh.
We all love Kelly's shelves.
We do love Kelly's shelves. When we
They
stayed
wrapped
over at
all
her.
the way around that room.
Yes. That was like a big feature when we were all crashed at her house for her wedding. It was like, oh, Kelly's shelves in person finally.
I have to take them down like tomorrow.
Aw.
No.
But you re-put them up somewhere, right? When you go. You have space?
We don't know yet. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, I will have space for them again, but maybe not.
I had to store half of my books, and it was tragic, and it broke my heart.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
All right.
I will film a video. We're doing it the 20, not
the 20, yeah. I have a prompt, though. So the prompt is closed doors. A character is either locked in or out of something in some way, either in a symbolic way, he can't have something, or literal, and he or she is trapped somewhere.
If your character is an elephant, I think you can tie all of this together very nicely.
Yes.
Perfect. I mean, it was made for that, right? Maybe they're busting out of something. You want to make your character. I thought you said you wanted to be trapped somewhere, and I was like,
no.
Okay. I mean,
I don't want to be trapped.
Whatever floats your boat. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I don't really have any instances in my book right now where I can trap people, but maybe metaphorically.
I saw a question. I'm going to say it now before it goes away and I never see it again. Is it okay to hop around your story, like go from chapter 6 to chapter 3, and so on and so forth?
Yes.
Totally.
All things are okay.
You do you.
I used to prefer writing that way. I'm still kind of playing around with different options, but if you're feeling stuck on something, rather than just sitting there and staring at it, if there's another scene you are amped up for and ready to go, write that. It might be a bit more of a headache later, depending on how thoroughly you've outlined, but if it's going to keep you moving, do it.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about Scrivener, is that the files, you can move them around afterwards. So if I'm like, I'm just going to write this scene now, and then later I'm like, oh, this needs to be way up farther, then I can just drag it up there. Because I used to make myself be strict chronologically, but I'm playing around with some new stuff this year.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't skip around scenes like that, but I skip things. I've noticed that I always skip scenes where characters are revealing information or something, because I just don't feel like writing it. Because it's stuff I already know that I figured out before I even wrote the book, and I'm like, I don't feel like writing this. I've already figured it out. It's not interesting to me, but it's necessary. And it actually is interesting, just not to me, because I've already written out all the information in a notebook, so I don't feel like writing it as a conversation.
I always just put it in a block of text when that happens. She told me about, and then just
yeah, same.
And then it always ends up being a bad decision, though, because then I get farther in and my character needs to act on the information they learned, but I don't know exactly how it was told to them, so I'm like, I don't know exactly what the character knows.
We had another one that someone asked earlier, is what do you do when you get stuck? How do you keep going?
Skip to a new scene.
I was going to say, I think this ties in nicely.
Yeah.
I would skip to a scene I'm excited about, personally.
Yeah. I very much like the Pomodoro technique, I guess. I go to tomato-timer.com and say okay, I've set 15 minutes and now I have to go. And I put the little clock thing up so I can see the time counting down, because the stress really works for me.
Motivational stress. Yeah, I really like the Pomodoro technique as well. I use it because I feel like the ticking sets into my brain, and then my brain is therefore okay, no more Twitter. The ticking means you have to go. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of going, we've only got a few seconds left. So how long is the sprint, did we say? 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And if we miss your questions, we're sorry. Ask them again as soon as we're done, and I will try to get on there and answer them.
I've already got one saved for when we get back. So.
Oh, perfect.
I'm totally ahead of the game right now. All right, guys, 10 minutes of writing, then we will check back in. Good luck.
Yeah. What's the prompt again?
It is closed doors. Your character is either locked in or out of something, metaphorically or physically.
Thanks. Time.
Oh, how'd that go?
Never seems long enough.
I got 212. All right.
Got 100.
I went back and fixed a plot hole, so.
Yay.
This is actually one of those scenes I was just talking about where I have to like figure out how to reveal certain information.
Oh, was anyone eavesdropping?
The kind of thing I tend to skip over.
Did anyone use any of the prompts yet so far? I'm not able to because of the editing, really, but no.
I used the eavesdropping one in the warm-up. I didn't have room to lock anyone in this or in this script, but.
I actually have my character. Actually, I lied earlier. I could technically do the locked in one because I have a character being questioned in a police car. So technically, she could be locked in the back of the police car.
If she's in the back, she probably is locked in.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's something to do. I know Kelly is saving a question from last time.
It was about using text-to-speech to write, and that's something I've been doing a lot this year, and I really, really love. So I have a program called Dragon Naturally Speaking by Nuance. So it basically just you hook up a mic, and then it learns how you speak over time. So it does get easier. Because as someone mentioned in response in the comments of like they've tried it, but it just kind of turns out a mess. And it definitely can. You need to take the time to kind of train the program and use something a little more advanced like this. I got this one on a deal. It was like, usually it's over 100. But if I have a scene plotted out and I'm dictating, I can do 10,000 words in 4 hours with breaks. So
wow,
there's a lot of potential there. It's a lot of fun. I talk really fast, so that is a nice advantage. But I also talk very mumbly, so it's taking a long time to get clear.
I feel like there would be, because for me, I know even when I switch from pen to computer, there's a huge difference in my narration style. So I feel like speaking things out loud, I don't know how good at that I would be. Like you almost have to be like an oral storyteller, right? To translate your thoughts.
I haven't had that same problem. I know other people have.
Okay.
But it's really the kind of thing that takes practice.
That's true.
Kind of like eventually you get into that same just writing groove. Because you're not like telling a story. You're still saying it as you would want to type it. And you can watch the words kind of go out on the screen to give you more of that feeling.
Weird. That's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I definitely want to try it, but I write so many murdery characters and I live in an apartment complex, and so I'm like a little worried that people would hear me.
So I was gonna say, I feel like it's like something that you have to like be able to like work in your own office by yourself to be able to do it.
Or else, like, annoy people. Matt is home and in the next room, I feel so self-conscious.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll like lock myself in the basement so no one can hear me.
I can't even like film a WordNerds video. And,
no.
Like,
yeah.
There. When anyone's there, no.
But a lot of people also like, depending on how quiet your neighborhood is, if you can like dictate into your phone and just walk around. So like if you're not near other people, if someone passes you, just go quiet for a second because the program will cut out any gaps.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I would love that.
That's a good idea.
I have bad wrists, and I assume they're only going to get worse over time. So it's a skill I've been trying to get better at so that I can continue to write after I am a mangled old lady.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, I have carpal tunnel as well, so
yeah,
I really should.
It's really, really good for that.
I should start practicing. You guys are doing awesome for word counts over in the comments. You guys are rock stars. We also had a few questions that I saved from last time. Where are you? I wrote them down because I don't remember them. So do you have any tips on transitioning between scenes? I have all my scenes written out, but I don't know how to connect them smoothly.
Worry about that in revisions.
Yes, essentially.
I am notoriously bad about this, and when I was in Pitch Wars last year, that was a note that was at the beginning of like every chapter. It was like, you need a better transition here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be something big. You just have to like give a feel for how much time has passed and where they are now. And it doesn't have to be like the most beautiful thing ever.
And you really don't need to fill in all those time gaps. Just like Megan said, just like make sure it's clear that you're setting the new scene in a new place and some time has passed, that like you don't need to, and this happened and this happened and this happened and now we're back to the plot. Like it just skip ahead, but just smooth out the edges.
Sometimes what I struggle with, is like what you said, smoothing out the edges, especially at the ending of chapters or scenes. They can seem to end really abruptly. So sometimes I'll just go through like published books and be like, let's see how they end. It's like, oh, is it a cliffhanger? Is it like a final note? Is it wrapping up from like taking a theme from the beginning and wrapping it up the end? Like, how's that happening? Endings in general are hard.
Yeah, ending scenes are really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And also, I think one of the difficult things, and this is definitely something you look at in like revisions and later drafts, but like not ending and starting all of your scenes the same way, which I know I tend to start all my scenes. I feel like they're very similar like starts, and I'm like, I need to change this up some.
Yeah. I remember one time Kelly was beta reading for me, and it was several books ago. And it was like the first book that I had ever really sent out to beta readers. And I distinctly remember one of the comments she put was at the end of probably like 2/3 of the way through, because I just left a chapter off on an ominous note. And it turned out I had left every chapter off on an ominous note. And she was like, you can let them breathe for a second.
Yeah, you don't want every chapter to end with a cliffhanger. Or end up perfectly wrapped up. Like, you know, you have to.
I think having like an unanswered question or something along those lines in the end of a chapter is good. It doesn't have to be like and then she was about to die, but like it can be like, oh, I need to, should be like the reader's like, I need to know what happens next. So, you know, one more chapter.
In the reader's mind, but like still have a like complete scene in what you've just finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And we had another question that I want answered. I think it's funny. Question: can a karate chop to the throat kill someone? I think so. Really? You don't think so?
Megan is our expert in.
She is expert in all things
physical violence.
You would have to hit them really, really hard, and like the average person, just I don't think isn't gonna be able.
I think a punch to the throat could. Maybe not a karate chop. Okay, now I have to Google this.
You can like bruise your trachea and stuff.
I want to know.
It's very hard to kill someone by hitting them just once.
Yeah.
I know punching people in the nose can kill them because it can drive their bone up into their brain.
But it's super unlikely.
Yeah. Okay.
And really, if you're writing something like that, writing a one-hit kill would just be very abrupt, I think.
Yeah.
Apparently only if you crush their trachea, which is hard to do. But you could do it, but it would take a lot of force.
And if your character is one of those people who have just been thrown into like a very dramatic situation, was not a fighter before this, and is slowly learning how to, like, they're probably not that skilled.
I would assume that you would have to have a tool of some, like it couldn't just be your hands, you know, like you'd have to have like a really heavy pipe or something, or brick, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really
I think you could do it. I think it's probably happened before, but I also think it's probably pretty rare.
If I read it in a book, I wouldn't believe it.
I would
someone who's like taken a lot of karate classes and stuff.
I would believe it, but only if like the person, because they wouldn't die immediately. They would be struggling to breathe because you've crushed their trachea. So they could technically go get help, right? If someone took them to the hospital, they would probably be alive at the end of it.
Oh, fun.
These are the types of questions we like to discuss.
As writers, we must know the answers to.
Yeah, someone commented that killing someone with one punch feels a little anticlimactic. And
that
I
is
think
true.
That's how I would feel. Of like, I don't know, unless you're trying to like write that movie scene that never feels realistic in the movies of like
it goes like slow motion.
Yeah, and it's like taking down every single person with one hit. I feel like reading that would be a little like, I'm confused.
The anticlimactic, unless it was just like a character that was just like a one-off, and it was like, this is the assassin, and demonstrating how amazing the assassin is, or something.
Yeah, for sure. But I tend to like skim over fight scenes, so I know I'd just be like, wait, where'd that, like, are we done?
Wait, he's dead?
Oh gosh, what time do we want to start the next sprint?
I guess the 45, just because the 40 is now.
Weird.
We have to discuss the important questions, okay?
It's true.
So there's another prompt. It's about punching someone in the throat and killing them. No, I'm kidding. So what you don't know can hurt you. A secret someone is keeping finally comes out in a way that causes disaster either for your main character or the people around them.
Ooh. Oh, I'm about to write that
Emma's
chapter.
face.
Literally, my whole book is about like people keeping secrets about things. So this is an easy one for me.
That was perfect. That was so deliberate. No, I don't. That's awesome.
If you're caught up in Nano, this is like the perfect time to be revealing something that really knocks your character on their back.
Yes.
People are asking other questions about how easy it would be to kill people in various ways. Guys, this is not a murder chat as much as I would like it to be.
All right, bringing it back to a little more wholesome, I have now learned that the elephants' names from earlier are Susie, Bunny, and Minnie. So,
What?
Adorable.
Well, this got less murdery.
Canada is a magical place.
It's like Disney over here, pretty much.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. Does anyone do on-site research? Have you ever actually been to the place? I want to. My book is set in Ireland, and I'm really hoping to go to Ireland next year, but we'll see if that happens.
I've written a couple different books that they're fantasies, but they're based climate-wise and like architecturally on like southern United States cities, because that's where I'm from. And so I have gone around those cities that I'm already familiar with and tried to like take notes on them and like get to know them better. Or I had like a contemporary fantasy, I guess it would be called, that like actually took place in St. Augustine, Florida. So I like checked out all the sites, even though I'd seen them a million times. It was like seeing them differently when I was intending to put characters there.
Yeah, usually it's not like research at the time because I don't realize that I'm going to write about it until afterwards. Like when I was in New York, I went and saw this really amazing old church. I can't even remember Saint something, obviously, but it was just like it had the crypt and the statues and like all the really cool stuff. And I ended up setting a book there afterwards. But at the time, I was just like, everything's so cool and just taking a lot of pictures. I wasn't thinking like, where would my characters be and stuff like that. It would be nice to have it be the other way around, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go set something here. So I'm going to go pay like a special attention to this place. So hopefully someday.
Yeah. I'm hoping to write a fantasy soon with Kyra that looks a lot like Savannah, Georgia, and I'm going to be going there at Christmas time, and I'm so excited to like get to do research all over again. That's my favorite part of the writing process.
Yeah, some people are talking about in the comments setting your place or setting your story in fictional places and doing research for that. I actually, my current one, like I said, set in Ireland, and it is in a fictional town. But like there are tons of small towns probably in Ireland, I assume as well, that would be like similar. So writers do that a lot, where they just base things off of a small town, but it's not actually a real place. So
yeah,
I mean, that's possible to do in fantasy as well, like Megan was saying.
Mm-hmm. And there's just like things about the atmosphere that are going to be different in each place. Mm-hmm. The climate, just like the way the trees move, all the romantic writing things.
Yeah.
Maggie Stiefvater did a really good job of this in her Raven Cycle series, where the town is not real, but it feels like it could be because it is so
feels
rich.
Real.
Mm-hmm. And we actually, when we drove up for Kelly's wedding, Megan and I drove through like that part of Virginia, and like we felt like we were in the Raven Boys. We were like, oh my gosh, we get it! Like this is totally what it felt like. And it was like really foggy that day too. It was amazing.
What?
Perfect.
You guys are so lucky.
Oh my gosh.
Now I want to go.
All right, guys, 15 seconds. Erin, want to remind us of the prompt?
Yes, it is the what you don't know can hurt you prompt. So a secret comes out and affects everyone in a drastic and often negative way.
Awesome.
How long are we going for? 10?
10.
10 minutes.
All right, guys, we will see you in 10 minutes. Good luck. Happy writing.
time.
That one felt super fast.
It really did.
Yes, it did.
I got 3:43 this time.
Nice.
You do really well with the short sprints, Megan.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't get it.
It won't tell me how many words I got. Oh, 200. There we go. I was trying to highlight it and it was like, nope.
I can't remember where I stopped the last sprint and started the next one, but I think it was around 150.
Ooh, lots of people doing really well in the comments. Someone's dog stopped them partway through. Pets.
Pesky puppers.
Always wanting to be fed.
Always wanting attention.
That was my cat yesterday when I was trying to get my nano word count in, trying to sit on my laptop and then on my feet and I don't know. Awesome. And some people have seriously impressive word counts in 10 minutes. I'm like, 200 is pretty good. I was like, okay, person who got 600, you know what? Oh my goodness. Anyone get the prompt in?
I am about to. I'm so close.
Nice. I went back and made her sit in a police car, so we got that one prompt in.
I also am about to slam the door on them, so in my next scene, I'm going to have 2 of the prompts in
Nice.
one.
Oops.
So popular. Do we have any questions we need to be answering?
Somebody asking what the last prompt was. That was the secrets coming out and messing things up. Quite a few people got the prompt in. I don't think we have any questions so far that I can see. If I'm missing your guys' questions, I'm sorry. The chat goes really fast. Please ask them again and I will get to them. Nope, no questions so far.
Awesome. So we should be moving in, if you are on the track for the chart or whatever, we should all be moving into the end. How is everyone feeling about writing endings?
I wish I had more time.
That is not a problem I'm having right now.
I always dread writing endings.
Me too.
It's like trying to figure out how to wrap everything up and like have everything like that needs to be revealed get revealed. And
I've created all these problems and I rarely figure out how to solve all of them at once before it's time.
Sometimes I like endings. Like the momentum seems to like really be going and you kind of know where you're supposed to end up, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, but that's only if all the stars align.
I like this stuff like after the after the conflict has been resolved and like the climax and everything. Like I like all of the like falling action and like wrapping up character threads and stuff. I enjoy that, but I just really struggle with writing like the big final conflicts for some reason. Even when I know what they're supposed to be, I just don't want to write them.
I hate
There's so much pressure. I think that's what it is. Is I'm like, this is supposed to be amazing and the big like showdown, and so I just get really stressed and then I don't want to write it.
It has to be like, there's so many things, like it has to be a big final showdown, it has to be like emotionally satisfying, and then you have to have like the falling action. Like it's a lot of pressure.
And like your character has to like prevail, but also it can't be too easy for them, and so you have to make sure there's obstacles. It's just a whole mess of things.
Exactly. We have a couple of questions. One person wonders about tips for catching up. We talked a little bit about this last time, but it's always relevant during Nano. Anyone got any good tips for catching up when you're behind?
The Nano page offers a minimum count you need per day, and I definitely like to look at that when I'm behind and try and keep the minimum.
I've now reached a point where my words per day to finish on time is more than 2,000. I'm like, no.
But with one really good writing day, you can knock that out.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. So like for me, it's really about, because like I know I can't really like realistically, I can't write more than 2,000 words a day, like on days where I have to work 8 hours a day. So like having a couple days, which is basically today and tomorrow, where I can put in a lot of words to kind of like make up for the rest of the week and how much I know I'll be able to write the rest of the week. So try to fit in some of those big word count days where you can.
Yeah.
I go to coffee shops.
I was about to say that same thing. I love to go to coffee shops for those days.
Yeah, kind of forces you to write because you're like, well, I'm here to do this specifically. So
I paid $2 for coffee. So
$2. Where do you go?
At the local one by my house.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I go to Starbucks. So it's not $2. We have a couple other ones. How do you introduce a character with PTSD that gets progressively worse? I want it subtle at first. And then a few people are chiming in and saying they would like to know as well. That's an intense question.
I have never had PTSD, so...
Do a lot of research. I know there are websites. I wish I could remember the name. I know there's a website for writers writing PTSD. So maybe Google it and see if you can find it. And that's the kind of thing where you're also going to want someone who has experienced PTSD to read your book for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely want to think about what things are going to like trigger it for your character. And sometimes it might be things that you don't expect.
Yeah.
I think this is an incident where you definitely want, if you are pursuing publication, to consider a sensitivity reader. Because people with PTSD, if you don't do the proper amount of research, they're going to look at that and be like, no. So, and I feel like it's something that would be easy to mess up if you don't, like, I don't have PTSD. I don't know how I would write it. So, but yeah, research and then readers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of books that have done it well, but I'm not drawing.
Mockingjay does it really well.
Yeah, other than Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't like Insurgent, but I thought Insurgent did a great job. I know some people got frustrated because it slowed down the pacing because Triss couldn't touch a gun, but I thought it felt very real.
Yeah, I think I'd be more annoyed if she was like, everything's cool, and then just like went on with her life, because that has happened before, specifically with like in YA specifically. It really irritates me when there's like some kind of sexual violence against the main character, and then it's just all cool the next day, because it was like just for shock, and then the character is literally over it the next second, and we're going on with the plot. And you can tell the author did it because they didn't want to like have the rest of the book be about that, which I get, but at the same time, like, then do you need to have this in? Like, why do you have this in? And so.
Also,
research.
Also, because we haven't brought this subject up at all in this chat, and so I have to, I think that Order of the Phoenix, Harry, is a good example of PTSD in there. Like, and it's something that I don't think we talk about a lot, but like, he does have PTSD from like watching Cedric die, and like he's dealing with a lot of that, like, the like guilt over it, and the anxiety and the anger and all of that. So
for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people just got like, oh, Harry's so annoying right now. No, like
watch someone die and he blames himself.
Yeah. Well, that was the same, like Megan said, with Triss, people getting frustrated. Like, just get on with the story, but it's like, well, that's not how real life works. Like, you don't just get on with your life.
People got really annoyed about like the way Katniss acted, especially in like the movie, like part 1 of the movie. They're like, she doesn't do anything, and I'm like, well, she's got PTSD. Like,
Mockingjay Part 1 was my favorite of the movies.
I love it so much.
It's so beautifully done.
We do have a couple other questions. Can you give out any advice for writing a fight scene? Read fight scenes.
Yes, and watch videos of like people like fighting and stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
YouTube has a ton of resources for watching other people fighting, basically with any weapon you want. I know the last book I wrote was a Viking-inspired world, but I don't know anything about what an axe fight would look like. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of people fighting with axes and talking about like the different moves they were doing. And remember, you don't have to describe every little thing that's happening. Things can be happening really fast. So if it's like your main character and multiple other people fighting in the room, and it's like not omniscient, then it's not going to make any sense for your character to be like, I did all these moves, and then my mom did all these moves, and then my friend did all these ones.
Yeah, I think it's important to note, like, if you've ever seen an actual fight happen, like particularly like if it's just like a street fight or something, it's almost over before you can like start noticing it a lot of the time. It happens fast. And so yeah, there's like for writers a lot of temptation to be like Megan said, like, and then I did this move and then there was this move, but it's really not. Like you almost have to be watching hard to see that it's happening.
Also, it's going to be like messy too. Like I think sometimes we think of like the movie fight scenes that are like overly coordinated, you know, and like they can be really messy. I actually this week I watched The Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of my favorite movies. And I love like there's like a final sword fight at the end of the movie, and like it's really messy. Like one of them like grabs the sword and cuts his hand, and like they like things like they get like cuts and scrapes, and like it's not like clean and pretty, and they're just like swinging away at each other and slashing, you know. It's not like, oh, let us parry and hit each other. Like they're really trying to kill each other. Like
yeah, you don't like stand back and wait for the other person to like get in position, and not usually. I mean, maybe if it's
you
like an
don't
official
swing your
duel.
sword towards their sword so that you can like they can hit each other. Like you're actually trying to hit the person.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
So much of this is going to depend on your genre as well, like what weapons are being used, how much detail in the fight your readers expect. Because like if you're writing an epic fantasy massive sword fight thing, you have a lot more room to play around and really get into the nitty-gritty of the fight than I don't know, a lot of other genres. But
yeah, I feel like especially with high fantasy in particular, like I know I've read books that it's just like, okay, we're really into describing the battle between two massive armies, and it's like almost because I beta read for a lot of new writers, and I feel like a lot of time there's temptation to like go into too many details, and like particularly because your character is probably like almost in, especially if it's a first time battle, your character is probably almost in shock about what war is actually like. So they're not going to be like, and then there's this guy over here, and then there was this guy over here, and like Megan said, all of these moves, it's a blur, and it's like panic, and it's like emotion, and it's gory, and
I've never been in a war, but in my classes that I've been taking, I had my first ever like fight experience a while back, where the instructors, they would like take all the basics that they taught me in fighting, and we would put them into practice with one another. And I remember they paired me up with this one girl who I'd never fought before, and she didn't really know what I could do aside from that I was a super noob. But she came in fast, and I remember just being like, I just got hit. I just got hit so hard, and then like 5 seconds later, it started hurting because I hadn't experienced fighting before really, and it was just such a shock for me.
Yeah, it's the same when people describe like getting stabbed and stuff. Like a lot of the time you don't even, you know something's happened and it's bad because your body's gone into shock, but you don't know what it is. So like these are types of things that are like, you can literally go on like Reddit and be like, what is it like being stabbed? And there'll be like 10 people that are like, oh, I got stabbed, this is what it feels like. Right? So there's so much online. I was just researching the emotional repercussions of like finding a dead body essentially, and there's a whole Reddit thread of people that are like, hey, I found one, and then so
Reddit is great.
We're gonna do one last sprint at the 10, another 10-minute one. Aaron, do you have a final prompt? Or
I do. So speaking without words, layer a subtext beneath a conversation your characters are having. Everyone is saying things without actually saying them.
Awesome. It's time.
Okay, guys.
Last sprint.
Last sprint. Let's do this. Aaron won't quit.
No, one more word. Just getting into it, and then they're like, time, and you're like, no. Just one more sentence.
I was feeling similarly.
No. I think the short sprints work really nicely if they're just kind of like doing your own thing, and you can like take 5 minutes to walk around, whatever. It's then you stop and like chat for 20 minutes, and then it's just like I don't know what's happening anymore.
We are extra chatty today, though. Usually we don't have quite as long in between sprints.
It's true.
People are asking all the right questions to keep us chatty.
Mm-hmm. And we had another one that I forgot to ask last time.
Let's talk word counts first. How did you guys do?
Yes. Oh, I shut my computer off without checking. Oops.
I think I got like 135 or something. My word counts have all been around the same spot.
Yeah, it's close to 200.
I got 323.
Nice. Whew. Lots of awesome word counts in the discussion. Anyone use the prompt?
Erin just wants someone to use her prompts.
Come on, guys. I worked hard on
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't work hard on them. I looked them up online. I did actually end up using mine, the last one, the subtext, because that is definitely a favorite of mine.
I like subtext, but I always have to put it in revisions. I'm not very good at first draft subtext.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And people in the discussion were using your prompts. So.
Yes.
They love you.
Makes me happy. You guys don't, at least someone does. Yeah, no, I have a scene where the police are questioning my characters, so I figure I could get some subtext in there.
Definitely.
So.
Nice.
Lots of report.
Well, we've definitely gone over, so maybe we could just do like one last question and then wrap it up.
We'll do the one because they've asked it a couple times. Regarding killing off a character you're really attached to. I was going to say Megan, but I don't know if you get attached to your characters. You just know they're cannon fodder.
Is it just how, why?
Yeah, like how do you kill off a character if you're really attached to them?
I think it's okay to let it hurt you. It's okay if like it makes you cry while you're writing it, and like if you need extra time, like you don't have to rush through the scene, like give yourself all the time you need, because it does suck when you like a character a lot but you know that that's gonna happen to them.
Die. I feel like it's better if you're really attached to them, because your emotions gonna come out on the page, and like your goal should be to make your reader cry, honestly, if you're killing off a main character or a central character.
If you're feeling it, it's more likely that your reader's going to feel it, which is so much
Exactly.
fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is a fine line between like giving people feels and being melodramatic. But that's a line I usually have to go to in revisions and trust that beta readers will tell me if I've gone too far.
Exactly. That's what beta readers are for. Yeah. I'm never going to be able to edit myself and be like, oh, this is clearly melodramatic. I'm going to be like, no, it's amazing. And then someone will tell me like, no, this is over the top.
Definitely give the characters around the character dying time to process, and don't have them all process it the same way. Everyone processes death differently and are going to react to it differently. And that's a great way to show character on the page.
And it's a great way to have conflict between characters too. Like I love when there's like a character death and like one character is being like very calm about it, or like very like trying to distract themselves by continuing to do things, and another character is like grieving more openly and they're like angry at the other because they think like the person doesn't care. I love those sorts of things where like they don't realize that the other person is processing it differently, and then there's like tension because of it.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, we've gone way over our time on this channel. We will be back on our channel tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another live write-in. So if we miss your question, if you want to write some more with us, We have a link to that that's going to go in the discussion section, as well as I will put it in the description. So once the video is off air, you can refresh and it'll still be in the description. Do we have it in the discussion already?
No harm putting it again, even if we do.
All right. So we'll be there looking a lot like this, talking a lot like this. And we'd love to see you there too.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Hopefully we will see you tomorrow and in the future. And enjoy the final days of NaNoWriMo.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.